Yo, wake up, dreamers. Welcome to another episode of Let's Dream Podcast. This will be episode 38. How are you doing, Casey?
Wide awake now. Thank you. I'm doing good.
Do you like sleep, Casey?
Probably one of my top 3 favorite things in the world.
Top 3, huh?
Yeah.
Well, in this episode, it's going to be your number 1 favorite thing.
Nice. Okay, I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Well, what are we doing today? The importance of sleep?
We're doing the importance of sleep.
Okay. Well,
and I know for sure not everyone is getting enough sleep.
Yeah, I think as soon as the internet came around, that all pretty much went to hell. And TV. So yeah, probably a combination of those two. So as far as like doing everything, like going into the episode today, we just want to make sure we say that this is just for educational purposes. None of this is medical advice, but a lot of it is, I think, common sense that we'll be discussing today.
Well, you would think it would be common sense, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, so, okay.
How many people are going out there? I don't know about our listeners, but are any of you like, oh man, I have 4 hours of sleep, I can operate?
Yeah, that used to be, oh, let's be honest, that's pretty much everybody from the age of like, I don't know, 17 to 25, 26 and or older.
Bro, high school will get you waking up at like 4 or 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And your body's still developing. That's not good.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's like that age group, they just don't care. Like, I mean, obviously we remember what that was like. So it's like you pretty much don't care about sleep at that point. You got other things on your mind.
I mean, you shouldn't care about sleep. But also, did you know that studies have shown that from like middle school, waking up like super early for classes is actually not as beneficial for learning. And studies show that, hey, if little kids woke up later and they worked, not as long, like whole 8-hour school day isn't as beneficial.
Yeah, actually, hey, wait, actually, you know what? You reminded me of something that reminds me of, I remember when the world economy was, well, I guess it's in a slump now, but it was in a slump, about 10 years ago when, with the housing market crash and all that. And I remember reading this thing on that in Europe, it was commonplace for employers to cut down the workday of the employees. Instead of cutting employees, they just split up the workload and actually increased productivity. So that makes sense. Like don't overwork yourself and get rest. So you're more productive.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just a silly thing, like I guess work tradition, like the 40-hour work week that they instill in kids from such a young age, and that you have to wake up early in the morning. And it's also the fact that we're all made differently, And
there's just so many benefits to a good night's sleep. I mean, obviously your focus, your memory, all of that is just improved, and, you better muscle regrowth if you're training, or muscle repair. Like what are some benefits that you can think of? Overall
health. When people try to lose weight, one of the they work out, they diet, one of the things they do forget is like resting, or more specifically sleeping.
For sure.
Not only sleeping, like diet and working out will get you so far, but one of the main things that you should really focus on is regulating your hormones. And this is what sleep allows your body to do.
And not only that, but it's like if you get enough sleep, it's easier to control your cravings, right? You have more self-control when you have enough sleep.
Absolutely, you're kind of like what's it called?
Satiated.
Bright-eyed.
Right.
Bright-eyed.
Yeah, more alert. You're more aware of yourself. So there's just so many benefits to a good night's sleep. I don't even like. It's funny because like if I was to tell 22-year-old Casey, it's like you need to get a good night's sleep, quit being such a dumbass, like always going out and getting drunk. It's like you're killing yourself, kid.
Yeah, I mean that is one of the things like we're kind of conditioned to in society, isn't it? Wake up, work hard, party hard, or
yeah. And it's so like if you think about it, just natural evolutionary progression is just, it's so unnatural, like to do that, and also to be just to have all these screens and lights blazing at you like 24/7 is just so unnatural.
Yeah, there's so much stimulus going on.
And it's no wonder really that people like this, depression is on such a high rise, depression and anxiety. And it's like, that's one of the main things that helps, like you were saying, like hormone balancing, and helps to bring more like peace of mind, is just good night's sleep, man. It's magic. It's straight up magic.
Yeah. So, I mean, what would you describe as a good night's sleep?
Well, I mean, it kind of depends on the age group. I know, like, the younger you are, the more sleep you need, and the older you get, the less sleep you need. But I think it's like, what was it? If you're over 18 years of age, like somewhere between 18 and 60, you need to be getting between 7 to 8 hours of sleep. But not everyone's the same. Like you said, not everybody's the same. It does vary.
But what is usually the same is like a 40-hour work week, right? So you have 8 to 9 hours a day of work. With the lunch in between, and also like your commute matters, typically like 30 minutes averaging for like most workers, and that's already like an hour of your day. So that's like really like 10, 11 hours gone, right? And then you get home and then you have to like do stuff. You have to cook, you have to clean, you have to enjoy yourself, right? De-stress.
Yeah.
And then like, and then you're all of a sudden like, oh man, I just have to go to sleep. I didn't have any fun today.
Well, I mean, geez. Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of like summed it up, really. There's also like a lot of pressure on people to have fun, or like, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense if you're spending so much time working, and then you feel like pressured to have fun and like enjoy life, then obviously you would get it. You may let it cut into your sleep time. But I'm a fan of naps. See, the thing is, like, for me, I don't know, like a good night's sleep, on average, because I track my sleep, I get about 6.5 hours of sleep, and I feel really well. Like, I feel fully rested when I wake up. But I will take like 1 or 2 10 to 15 minute naps throughout the day. How about yourself? How much sleep time would you say you get every night?
I get at least like 7 hours.
Okay.
Typically, I think that works for me, and especially like because I like working out. When I'm sore and my body's just tired, it needs to have that much time to like recover and regulate muscle soreness and stuff. And if I work out and then I don't get enough sleep, like the next day I am like super stiff.
Okay, yeah, and that's no good. Like you need to recover.
Yeah. What is your take on naps, by the way?
So man, naps are weird, but so with me, I feel really, really rested. Like if I take a 15-minute nap, sometimes a 10-minute nap, like if I'm doing something very like thought intensive, like mentally very intensive, or like if I'm working a lot, and then like for example, like when I get done with my work day, I will take like a 15-minute nap and then jump into whatever else I'm doing. And I just feel like it's a reset. Sometimes I'll feel like the day started all over again. So it's almost like a cheat for me. But like that's why I really enjoy doing it. But I've also kind of conditioned myself to it. Like, do you nap at all?
When I feel like I need it.
Okay. So
sometimes I'll be like I said, if I'm like overworked or just going on, like I'm just trudging along. And like sometimes I don't even realize I need a nap until like maybe I piss someone off, and then evidently I piss myself off for like even getting into like a grumpier mood, and I'm like, oh shit, So I'm like, all right, maybe I need to like slow down a bit, just close my eyes for a bit. But I think naps kind of vary. Some people take like 10, sometimes 5-minute naps, and that just absolutely like resets them. I think what works for me mainly is like 30 minutes.
Okay.
From what I remember, I read an article saying that 30 minutes, like you get at least 1 REM cycle in. So that kind of helps refresh your brain or something.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that. I don't remember quite what that article said, but 30 minutes for a power nap is like, it's a good time frame.
So I don't know, like that's the thing about sleep cycles is, it's kind of like REM cycles usually kick in right around the 90-minute mark. But
okay, yeah. So I just made that up probably.
Well, no, I mean, so it really depends, because it also depends on how exhausted you are. So I know that Dr. Labarge at Stanford University, he had, I remember when I read his book, he had done a lot of experiments on, people going in and out of REM sleep, and like when it kicks in, what's affecting it. So really, some people do go into REM sleep quicker than others, generally it's about the 90-minute mark, because you need like your brain needs to go through those stages of like just kind of like slowing down and then like getting into that deep sleep and then coming back out. But it's not the same for everyone. And I will say this, when I have had really, really long and crazy dreams on 15-minute naps at work before, where I would like wake up and I'm like, oh snap, I'm still at work. What just happened? So it varies. It does vary, and it depends on how exhausted you are.
Okay.
Do you track your sleep at all, or?
I did for a bit. It's interesting. I apparently I don't. It's hard for me to say how accurate it is because I don't feel it.
Okay.
And the little I have a Fitbit tracker, and it just, if you wear it, it kind of tracks your cycles, I guess.
Okay.
And it's interesting that you only spend so little in actual deep sleep, and apparently I'm up for like an hour somewhere along the line, maybe trying to fall asleep. I don't think that's true.
Okay.
But it says I'm up an hour from my sleep schedule somewhere in there, and I find that interesting.
Oh, wow. So, okay, I was wondering about that because I track my sleep too, and it says that I am awake for about an hour, because apparently, you know, like you wake up, you know, during the night, you wake up multiple times. You're just not aware of it. You don't remember it. And when I look at like my sleep tracking, it shows that, but every now and then I'll just like hit like a really deep cycle where I'm just like deep, and it's kind of funny because when you look at it, it's like a little graph, and it's almost like a heart monitor. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh crap, I like flatlined for like half an hour. What happened there? But it's fun. I think people should try tracking their sleep because it is kind of fun to look at it.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting. And you'd be surprised. I was certainly surprised when I saw the results for several nights. I'm like, did I really spend an hour not asleep? And then sometimes I'm like, man, I feel like I should be in more REM cycles, or like, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, so that's actually, now that we're on the topic, that's a really good point, is that when you wake up is really actually very important, because it'll help determine how rested you feel. So do you ever like wake up after a long night's sleep and you're like, I don't feel like I rested well at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably you woke up in the middle of a REM cycle, because if you need to be like, because you know, like you'll go in and out of like being asleep, and you want to wake up when you're coming out of like a deep sleep, because if you wake up when you're going into a deep sleep, regardless of how many hours of sleep you get, you just feel crappy. Like it's not good.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, and I've definitely felt that.
So like that's why I track my sleep, because it helps wake up on the up cycle.
Also, if you wake up during your REM cycle, aren't you like super groggy?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like when you're like on like laughing gas groggy, right? You're like, oh, get away from me. I just want to like lay down. Ugh.
Yeah.
But do you know what happens when like, this happened a lot in high school. Like my head would hit the pillow. I'd close my eyes, and then the next moment it's daytime and I have to go to school.
Oh, yeah. So that's usually a sign that you were like really exhausted, like you were overexhausting
Really?
yourself, or you were short on sleep. So the thing about sleep is that if you don't get enough of it, your body will make you get enough of it, and it's kind of funny because like I used to just completely disrespect my sleep schedule when I was younger, because I used to be a volunteer firefighter as well as work full time, and I remember I would like just run on so little sleep, and then like once a week I would just crash completely, and that's not good.
So that's what's happening when you're like you close your eyes and then like you feel like you didn't get any sleep, and it's already daytime. Yeah,
exactly.
That's what exhaustive sleep is like. Okay.
And well, it could like your health status can affect that too. Like a couple of years back, I had gotten really, really sick, and I just felt like I just wasn't, like I was always tired, even if I would sleep for like 8 or 9 hours, and that's like a really good indicator that there's something wrong if you're not getting restful sleep. But also something that's it's true for me, it's not true for everybody, but what you eat before going to bed can definitely impact, and how long like the the rest that you've had after eating, like how long it was before going to bed that you ate, that can also impact that. Do you ever like eat something and then you just have trouble sleeping?
Sometimes, but my digestive is pretty good, so I don't like sleeping right after I eat anyway, because I feel like that's just not very good for my body.
Yeah, I mean, like, see, my digestion's shit. Like, I gotta wait like hours, at least like 4 or 5 hours after eating to go to bed.
Yeah, I could, but I would just feel so uncomfortable with a full belly, you know?
Yeah, and you know, the other thing is, I'm in the habit of fasting, and sometimes, like recently, actually, a couple of days ago, about a week ago, I did a 3-day fast. I slept like a baby every night. I love sleeping on a fast. It's just like the deepest sleep you get.
How do you understand that? Like, what's happening?
I think it may have a lot to do with just your body is like when you're fasting is just like you have a lot of extra energy, which sounds counterintuitive, I know, but like after you get that initial phase where you're just like hungry and waiting for that habit of, you know, mealtime that you're used to, when you get past that, you just feel really focused and like just more like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you don't feel as inflamed somehow, or at least I have a lot of allergies, so I don't know if that's relatable, but I notice that I always just feel like I've gotten like, when I wake up on a fast, it's just such a deep sleep. It's just it feels so restful. I highly recommend people try it if you know, like if you don't have like any health problems that may interact with your fast.
Yeah, definitely don't do a 3-day fast right off the bat. And definitely if you do a fast, do it for like, you know, 8 hours, the minimum. And if you're trying to go for more and if you have health issues, definitely go see like your practitioner or your general, whatever it may be, and have their advice first.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like I'm in the habit of just eating like once a day and sometimes twice a day. So I'm just really used to it because I really do feel like for example, the other day I had to pick up my fiance from the airport, but it was like I had to go pick her up like at 1 a.m. and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to stay up. So I ate a pretty big meal at 8 p.m. and that kept me up, you know.
And that's the other thing, like your body can do that. Not everyone can also handle it fast. Not everybody's body are able to fast as much. So keep that in mind if you are trying to do a fast.
That too, yeah. No, that's important to remember. But one thing that is really easy to do if people are wanting to kind of like help get a better night's sleep, and I know I've talked about it before on the podcast, but it's like getting blue light blocking glasses or goggles. I didn't believe it at first, but you actually do feel like a big difference. Did you ever get a light blocking goggles?
I have a blue light filter on my desktop and my phone, and it definitely makes, you know, if you have like all that blue light shining, it definitely makes you more alert and awake.
Yeah.
And since I've been using it, I think I have definitely felt a difference. So it's not like I'm all like, even if I'm, you know, on my PC till like midnight, it's not like I'm still alert and awake. I can just like step away and then like head to bed, get ready for bed, and then be asleep within like 30 minutes. Okay. And not have that feeling persist of alertness, that is. Okay.
Well, so actually, that's interesting because there's what we were just talking about with the food and the blue light. There's actually an interesting relationship between the two, because what happens when you're exposed to blue light, that suppresses melatonin production, and that's what helps you go to sleep. But when you eat, it can also spike the production of the serotonin, which is the opposite of melatonin. So it's kind of like if you're exposed to blue light and you're eating late, it makes it that much more difficult for you to go to sleep. So it's kind of like you're causing like a chemical imbalance almost. So it's kind of like really counterproductive to going to sleep. But on the flip side, you know, if you're not eating and then you're wearing the blue light blocking glasses, and then you go to sleep in like a really dark room, like you make sure that you have like I don't know if you've ever experimented with this, but I definitely have, and you notice a difference. It's like you fall asleep much quicker, like the less light there is in the room. It's weird, but it's fun to try though.
No, that makes sense. there's definitely nothing to keep you awake, and your body's like, oh, there's no daytime.
I mean, like there's other factors too, you know, like the sound, you know, like the light, the sound, and also stress. Stress is a huge one, you know, like if you're stressed out, this can totally impact your sleeping.
Most of all, stress will impact your hormones. Like I really do emphasize, like, hey, stress and get some deep sleep and regulate your body is much more important than, you know, or equally as important as dieting or working out to maintain, like, you know, a proper body.
For sure. And actually, since you mentioned that, like maintaining a proper body, there is something interesting that I did want to bring up, just because our listeners may not be aware of it. But so your liver cleans itself, and basically what ends up happening is that, like, if you stay up past midnight, you're compromising the function of your liver essentially, because between 1 and 3 a.m. is when your liver kind of cleans itself. So at the Toho University in Japan, they did a really cool study where they were experimenting on animals and people, where they were depriving them of sleep just for a day to see how it would affect the output of the liver. And what they found out is that sleep deprivation caused a significant increase in triglycerides and glucose, which basically, if you're prolonging that, like let's say you're being sleep deprived for a long time, you essentially you're boosting the chances of developing fatty liver disease. So I thought that was really interesting. So I just wanted to share it with the listeners. So what
does fatty liver do?
Fatty liver is basically what alcoholics get. So it's like it's just really like you're just really destroying the function of your liver, and therefore destroying the function of your body, because it's like that's like the chemical factory of your body is the liver.
Okay, what about all those college kids that, like, you know, party up until then?
Yeah, that they can only do that for so long.
Okay.
Eventually your body...
So then, like, bars and clubs are always open till like 2 a.m.?
Yeah, man, you know what? Like, it's interesting. That's totally a young person's game, man. Like, I don't even get the appeal anymore. And I'm only 32, so I'm like, I'm an old soul at heart.
Okay.
But like, can you go over your evening ritual? Can you like give us an example of how you like to get ready for?
You wanna know my routine for sleep?
Yes.
It is not really routine, and it is not very good.
Oh.
But basically,
gotta get on it, Lee.
But basically, I'm just kind of like, either I'm talking like friends or, you know, playing a video game, reading stuff. You know, so basically I'll get away from my desk, take a shower, brush my teeth, get ready for bed, shower, whatever. I like to have like something in the background, so like I'll put on a YouTube video on my desktop for like background music.
Okay.
Or background sounds rather. And I'll just lay in bed. If I feel like reading something, I'll read something on Reddit or something. Okay. And I'm like, if I'm tired, I'm like, all right, enough of this BS. And I'll toss my phone and just like sleep. And it's usually kind of late. And then I'll wake up around like 10ish.
Okay. Actually, you brought up a good point with the sound. So I know I mentioned earlier that you want to be you want to think about the noise in your sleeping environment, but some people sleep better with sound on, like something making noise in the background. I like to have like perfect silence, so it's kind of it's really difficult to achieve that, but some people just sleep better with music. What kind of music do you listen to when you're going to bed? I'm just curious.
It's not even music, it's just like a YouTube video.
Oh, so it's just like people talking, or?
Yeah, just people talking.
Okay. Huh. Cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know that about you. So it's like you like just hearing something in the background as you fall asleep, or? Yeah,
typically.
Okay. See, that's how my sister and my mom are. Like they enjoy having, like they have to have something like a loud fan or something in the background.
I don't necessarily need it, but it's more comfortable.
Okay.
As well as like, I think it just comes from like when I was a little kid, sometimes I wouldn't be able to sleep and mom would be like, she would tell me like, hey, just put on the TV until you're tired and go to sleep. I'm like, okay.
Gotcha.
I doubt that's really healthy, but you know, it worked, I guess.
Well, I hear a lot of people that sleep in or like live in big cities. When they move out of them, they end up having difficulty just going to sleep if it's like quiet. But as far as like my routine is like I'm very strict about like trying to go to bed at 10:30 every night because I wake up really early anyway. But so I usually just try to go to bed around that time, but I'll meditate for like 15 minutes before I go to sleep, and I've noticed a huge difference in the quality of sleep that I get from meditating. Like I always recommend it to people to try meditating for like 15 minutes, like not looking at anything, just meditating and then going to sleep. I'm surprised at how much better I sleep when I do it, and when I don't do it, I can always tell. I don't know why. Maybe it's a habit. When do you meditate? Because I know you meditate. When do you like to meditate?
I like to do some after I wake up. I like to like do my morning routine, and then an hour or two later, I try to do some yoga, and then just sometimes I go right into meditation after.
Okay.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, no, that sounds nice. But yeah, for the most part, like the key point that I would say is like if a person is having trouble sleeping is just like try the blue light blocking, whether it's like a filter on your computer or phone or goggles. Try to reduce or play around with the noise, and also meditating. Oh, and monitoring when you eat. Now, here's a funny thing. I have heard people say that they sleep better if they have like a high carb meal a couple of hours before going to sleep. I'm thinking maybe what's happening there is that they're getting the sugar high or the glucose spike, and then they crash, and then when they crash they just have an easy time going to sleep.
That just sounds like the itis to me.
The itis.
Like you have a big old, like you ate like 3 servings of pasta you shouldn't have, and then you're like, oh, that's it, I'm out.
Gotta go pass out.
That's good old Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, the best kind of like sleep I've had is like after like you work out, like a hard workout session.
Yes.
And like the only thing you want to do is like sleep. Like that's been like, and your body, your mind and soul is like, oh, I need that bed.
Yes.
It's like the best thing ever.
Yeah, man. A good hard day's work, and then you have a great night's sleep. Yeah, I'm totally on board with that. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to add, Lee?
Hey, the better sleep you get, the better dreams you'll get.
There you go.
And the better dreams you'll get is, the better dream journaling you'll get, right?
Nice.
So, keep doing your dream journals, because I've been doing mine, and I can't tell you the last one because it's kind of X-rated, but, keep at it.
Nice. Yes. Good. Yeah, I like that. Well, so if anybody wanted to do any further reading, a lot of the information that we referred to in this episode can be found on PubMed or the United States National Library of Medicine or National Institute of Health, the British Lung Foundation, or the Stanford School of Medicine. All that information can be found there. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any dreams you want to share with us, you can always do that on our subreddit at Let's Dream Podcast, or social media at our YouTube channel, or whatever else is comfortable. And
remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think, and share a podcast, because you're all very cool people. And we'll see you in the next one.